we've got a new drone from DJI, and this time it looks like a unicycle. What's going on, guys? My name is Dan Davis and I'm the creative director here on DansTube.TV, which is Australia's #1 drone YouTube channel. And today I've got my full review of the brand new DJI Flip. This is definitely one of the more unique drones from DJI. It's got a brand new form factor, and I can tell that this is going to take some getting used to from the community. It looks just completely different to anything we have seen. First things first, I do need to say that the marketing is a little confusing on this one. It's called the DJI Flip. The drone folds or flips, but the drone doesn't flip. So you can't use it in an FPV functionality. You can't get it to flip or do anything wild like that. Maybe that will come in future updates, but as of now, as of me doing this video, there is no way to flip this drone. This is the first drone from DJI with full propeller coverage. So you can see there's these little spokes almost, which is why I feel like it looks like a unicycle. These little spokes actually fully protect the propellers inside. Now, I have knocked this a couple of times when I've been testing it. It's been completely fine so far. One of my favorite features is when you fully fold it out, you can see it starts to boot up automatically. It also does power down when you fold it up. So as you fold it down,
aircraft will power off in 5 seconds.
It says 5 seconds.
On aircraft to cancel.
You can cancel it at any point, but it will power it down in 5 seconds. So to me, that's one of my favorite new features. It just means that you're getting up into the sky quicker than ever. And the other cool thing is when you take out a battery and put a new one in, it will also automatically boot up the drone as long as it's fully folded out like so. You can see when the drone's fully unfolded, it does have a very unique design. I would kind of see this as a hybrid between the Neo and like the Mini 4 Pro, for example. When you fold it out, it looks like the Mini 4 Pro, but it's got some of the functionality of the Neo and it's kind of in that similar vein, even though the form factor looks different. Your fingers naturally slot into this middle position here, and there is a button on one side there, which you can press to go between the modes. So you can see up here, there is a little display, and it also talks to you. It lets you know that you can go between the different modes like so, and then straight when you want to launch it, you press and hold that same button. Really smart design, and I love how that works. Off on the other side is the power button, and you can see that it's not positioned in a way that you're accidentally going to press and hold it to power off the drone. So smart design there, and the palm launching functionality works great. That's why I referred to this as kind of a Neo hybrid. We saw that palm launching from the Neo, and the Flip has pretty much the same offering here. You get all of those smart modes. It can follow you. You can do all of those quick shot modes, and it works flawlessly without a controller, without your mobile phone. And I'm really happy with how that works. From there, you can use a few different controllers. For me, I'm using the RC2. These two together work nicely. I'm really happy with this combo. So you also have full controller support. It does have OcuSync 4, so you're getting phenomenal range, and you're obviously getting a great video feed onto whatever controller you're using. Now, keep in mind, the other option you have is you can also control it with your phone. So you can go into your phone, you can use manual controls. You can also adjust a lot of the settings through the phone. So there's voice controls in there, so you can control the drone entirely with your voice. You can also record audio directly to the drone. So if you're using your phone, that will be your microphone system, or you can connect it up with something like the Mic 2. So you're going to get phenomenal audio while it's following you or while it's doing some of its tracking modes or quick shot modes. But again, at the time of me doing this video, there is no FPV functionality. So even though it's called the Flip, it can't flip. So as you've gathered, there are a few different ways of controlling this drone, but there is no goggle integration, like none of the Goggles N3 or Goggles 3, none of the motion controllers or anything like that are working as of this point of me doing the video. Who knows, DJI are great with their aftermarket care, so we might get something in the future, but right now this drone does not flip. I've also got a little secret for you guys, so come closer, just keep this one between you and I. I'm actually going to be giving away a DJI Flip very soon on the channel, so stay tuned for that one. From my experiences, it has been a sturdy design. They do say that there are carbon fiber components in here. The drone weighs under 250 grams, which you can see there, which is amazing to see. You can see the Flip branding on the back there. Really, really interesting design. I'll get into a few of the other features as we go. There is obstacle avoidance on the front, which I'll get into a little bit. But in terms of the propeller guards, right? So this is designed to be one of the safest flight flights that you can have from a DJI drone. You can see the propellers protrude just a little bit out like so that it actually does protect the camera system in there. One thing to keep in mind though, now this is a big one, I found that when the wind conditions were pretty strong, it was struggling to fly back to me. So one of the more important things to be aware of here is because you've got propeller guards, there's a bit more drag. There's less aerodynamics here. And even though it can handle level 5 winds, you need to be really careful because you're not going to be able to get back to yourself if it is really windy. A few apps I would highly recommend would be the Drone Buddy app and also the Wind Compass app. So really handy apps to have on your phone. You're going to be able to find out the wind direction, the wind speed, and the gust speed. And this is really important stuff to know when you're out and about flying your drone. If you are interested in the DJI Flip or any other drone, camera, or accessory from DJI, make sure to check my links out in the description below. I've got some great savings down there. If you're based in Australia, I've actually helped Aussies save over $70,000 on their purchases. So make sure to reach out to sales@d1store.com.au, mention DansTube to save on all of their different drones, cameras, and accessories over there. Well worth checking that out. I also will have some other links down below for my international viewers, so check all of those out down there. They say that the max horizontal speed is 16 meters per second in sports mode, which is really impressive, but I have not been able to get that in most of my tests. Again, there's a lot of drag because this has, less aerodynamics because of the spokes, because of the propeller guards on it. So you have to, again, be really careful. If it's a windy day, yes, this can handle level 5 winds and it does it phenomenally well. It's a flawless experience like really any other DJI drone, but you have to be careful because, you need to know the wind direction. So that's why I was mentioning those two apps. You might be able to fly out and it gets up to 16 meters per second in sports mode and you can fly to a location. But if the wind is pushing in the opposite direction, then you're going to struggle to get back. And that's where you're in a lot of trouble there. So be mindful of wind speed, gust speed, and wind direction when you're using the DJI Flip. The camera system here is quite similar to what we've seen in the past on the mini drone range. So this is a 1/1.3 inch CMOS sensor, really great camera system. The aperture is 1.7, so it's fixed aperture. It can capture 4K 60 frames per second HDR, and there's also the option to record 4K 100 frames per second slow motion. There's also 48 megapixel stills as well that this unit can capture. So quite similar in terms of its offering to what we've seen in the past, but still amazing to see on such a unique folding drone of this size. Another really cool thing about the Flip is that you can capture vertical video. So it doesn't rotate the camera, it's not native vertical, but you can capture 2.7K 9:16, which is the same resolution you'd be using for your reels and shorts and all the other vertical content. The other thing that's quite impressive here is you can capture 10-bit D-Log-M video as well. So in terms of its video performance, I've been very happy with how the videos and the photos look from this unit. As you guys would know if you've watched my other videos, I'm obsessed with the slow motion options from DJI. So I've been using 4K 100 frames per second a lot, but there are a lot of other video options as well. We've got the vertical video options, we've got 10-bit, we've also got 4K 60 with the HDR option as well. So that's really cool to see. I showed you how this screen here actually displays the different modes. So you'll find that when you connect it up to the controller, it will be in manual mode and it'll actually tell you it's in manual mode. So there's no possibility that you can accidentally tap it into a different mode and override the controller, for example. So I tested that a few times and it worked perfectly fine. But this sensor up here, this panel, also operates as an obstacle avoidance sensor. So it is a 3D infrared sensing system. Now, it won't avoid obstacles, but it can brake. So I've put it in the following mode. I've got a whole video on the channel where I've been testing it with its kind of tracking and ability to avoid obstacles. And it is smart. It will brake if it sees something. And then if you move back into the frame again, it will notice you and then actually navigate around the tree. So it doesn't just stop and never move again, which used to happen in the past with DJI drones, I noticed. This one's actually really smart. So even though it can only brake, it does still try to avoid obstacles and it does a great job in doing so. Now, just going a little deeper into the modes, it has all of the same quick shot modes that we've come to love from DJI. It's also got master shot, and we also get the focus track mode. So that's point of interest, that's the spotlight mode, and that's active track. Now, active track can only track people. You can't track vehicles or boats or anything like that. But if you're a person and you're on like a scooter or a bike or some sort of thing when you're on the water and it can track you, it's going to be able to track you. So there is some versatility there. There's direction track, which is awesome to see. That means that the drone can track you from the direction you launch it from. I found that when I was testing that, it would seem to default to following from behind. And I would imagine that's because it does only have one front-facing obstacle avoidance. So when it was doing the tracking from in front of me and it was flying backwards, it did a great job, but it obviously couldn't see anything. So a couple of times it knocked onto like a branch or a tree and it has no idea what's behind it, right? So what I noticed is when I started turning, it would then try to come around and track from behind. It wouldn't like fly around to get in front again. And again, that's a safety thing, I would imagine, but it does a really great job. In all the tracking modes that I put it through, it was really impressive. It does utilize OcuSync 4, which is phenomenal to see. 1080p, 60 frames per second with the video feed. And they say you get 13 kilometers of range. Again, keep in mind the drag that this unit can have. You need to really be aware of the wind speed, wind conditions, the wind direction, all of that stuff. But you can get phenomenal range from this unit. On some calmer days where the winds aren't insane, I have been able to push this unit and I found that it does a great job with range. It can handle the sky perfectly well. Again, if the winds are insane, I would not recommend flying this too far away, but in most situations it did a really great job. And with that level 5 wind rating, it really could handle the winds. It's more so just being careful how far you fly it away. We do get 31 minutes of flight time with the battery system. This is the charging hub here, and it can charge a couple of batteries at the same time. I do like the loading system. It kind of goes on an angle and then clips into place. And that's the same with the drone. It kind of sits like so on a bit of an angle, and then you push it into place and it clips in. Really secure fit, which is nice to see. Nice and easy to release. The batteries are small and lightweight. The unit itself obviously weighs under 250 grams. So amazing what they've been able to do here. And overall, I've been happy with the battery performance. Again, depending on the wind conditions will depend on what you're going to get out of the unit, but it's quoted at 31 minutes of battery life. If you are a beginner drone pilot, then make sure to check out my drone course. It's called the Fearless Drone Academy. It will help you master any drone that you own. I'll help you overcome all of those fears and anxieties around flying your drone. It's got so much value in there. So go and check out the Fearless Drone Academy and use the code DANSTube to save over there. The DJI Flip is one of the more unique drones from DJI that we've seen in a very long time. This is a brand new product range. You look at the design of it, it's something we've never seen before, and it definitely combines that Neo vibe with something like the Mini 4 Pro. It's a very unique offering, and I am curious to hear what you guys have to say about it and what your thoughts are. I don't know whether this is going to be for everyone. It depends on what you already own, but this is a really cool beginner drone. There's some unique features in here. It flies really well in most conditions. It's got that full coverage propeller guard on every single propeller. It's a great design. It has follow mode. It has obstacle avoidance at the front there. It's got a bunch of really cool features. That AI tracking works flawlessly with direction track and just the normal following or active track mode. So really cool stuff here. It is a unique drone, like I said, so I don't know how this is going to go in the market right now. Very, very keen to see what you guys have to say. But I think it's carved out a unique space, and especially for people that want to fly nice and close, you've got that peace of mind with the propeller guard there. The other thing to keep in mind is that this is not as loud or it's not as obnoxious as the Neo. So that is also a great calling card if it comes to just palm launching it, right? If this is a travel drone and you've got it just tracking you nice and close or doing those quick shot modes nice and close, you have the peace of mind knowing it's not as loud, not as obnoxious as some of the other smaller drones out there that can do similar things. So well worth looking into. Appreciate all the support, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll chat to you in the next one. Peace.